everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Chamber of Skulls, where we review skull and skull figures each and every week. Now, I know a few weeks ago, before we get into the video, that I mentioned that I wasn't going to do knives anymore after I did that one doubleheader weekend where I did a update, then I did a knife and a skull review, and the knife review didn't have as many views as I thought it might have. So it was after that that I decided I wasn't going to do knife reviews anymore. But I got a new one here today. I mean, it's really cool, I must say. I love it a lot. It's different than any other pocket knife that I've seen, even with skull related. I can't say there's anything fancy about it. It's just really cool. And we'll, excuse me, we'll have to wait till the end once we get this guy out of the way. So as we can see, we're not dealing with your typical skull this week. Instead, we have ourselves a bust, which I like to see, as you can see in the title of the video, The Thinker. Now, I've had this guy laying around for quite a few years. I would probably say he's one of my first. I've been pondering about bringing him up, seeing it's not an actual skull, but I decided to bring him out, show him off, and unfortunately, I can't give you guys the full detail of it. Now, we're not talking about visual. There's more to meets the eye to this one here. And any of you skull collectors, you know what I'm talking about. And to the rest of you, we'll get to that here in a minute. So our Thinker, like I said, he's one of the first pieces in my collection. It was actually a button as a Halloween decoration. As those of you that have followed me from the beginning realize or understand that my whole appreciation and collection of skulls started just as Halloween decoration, and just recently, within the last year or two, I started actually having an appreciation for skulls. I started collecting them. So this guy here, he's originally started, like I said, as a Halloween decoration, and the main reason behind that is the piece that I cannot unfortunately show you. I'm not going to get too deep into this one like I normally do. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about that you can't visually see. You have your skull. I mean, I call him the Thinker. I mean, you could see why, but I mean, it's user recommended, or what not recommended, whatever you guys want to call it. I apologize. It's been a very long weekend, and my brain just is not working. I know a lot of you guys who follow me, watch my videos all the time. I'm always stammering on stuff, and partially probably has to do with the time of the day that I make my videos. I usually catch them about 9 o'clock at night, so my day's over with. I'm done thinking. Damn mosquitoes. So when I come out here and I make my videos, my brain is done for the day. But, so, I mean, I don't know, you can call him the Thinker, you can call him annoyed, call him waiting. But either way you look at it, I mean, it's a really interesting design. We'll give you guys, well, let's turn this thing on so we're in the motor. If I can find my switch. There we are. So let's turn him around really quick. So as you guys can see here, I mean, everything about it is in full detail. He's got his rib cage, got the shoulder blades. I mean, when it comes down to evaluating the details on this, I must say this piece is pretty decent. It's not cheaply made. It's not cheaply designed. He's plastic, but under those circumstances, I mean, it's not cheaply made. You look at the detail on this, you got the vertebrae, you got the rib cage, you got the shoulder blades, and the shoulder blades, as you've seen, and we'll look at that at the end of the video when we do the review. It actually has the shape of the shoulder blade. Now, the artist on this could have easily just slapped something on and called it a shoulder blade, but instead went through and added detail to it. And as you'll see on it too, let's turn them around one more time. He has definitely gone through some hard times. As you can see here, his shoulder blade here is cracked. And it's cracked here. Now, those aren't defects from me dropping them or being mistreated. Those are actually characters in this piece. And if you even look on this forehead, when we get around here, kind of wish I would have got a faster moving one, but so if you can see up on his forehead here, he's got a crack on there too, which is not significant with your basic cracks in the skull. So he definitely has had a really hard life. Cracked both his shoulder blades, got a serious head injury. Like I said, the artist went through a lot of details on this to kind of give it that realistic feel to it. Give it that bumped up, beat up feel that you would see on a typical aged skull. So let's say this guy has had a hard life. I mean, if you can look here, he split open his chin. And I'll say it again, that's not signs of abuse that has gone through with my mistreatment. All my pieces are carefully cared for. They're sitting on the shelves, and the only thing that's in a box is my Halloween decoration, and they're even carefully put away. So I don't mistreat my stuff that could cause that kind of damage, if you will. And if it were caused by mistreatment, it definitely wouldn't be excuse the hell out of me. It wouldn't be smooth. There would definitely be cracks, and you wouldn't see blackness in there like it's been painted, but there'd be chips out of there and it'd be white as it would show the material. So now, for this knife, like I said, it's your typical pocket knife. We're not looking at anything fancy, but just a simple fact, and yes, I'm keeping the design away from you as I go to show you the simplicity of this knife. Just your basic pocket knife, nothing fancy. Now, before we go on to the actual knife, let me give you guys a little backstory on that. So 2 weeks ago, our dog went missing, and it was on a Thursday, and I believe it was the following week, there was a Facebook post from a community about 45 miles from here that had found a dog that looked very similar to ours. So me and my fiance, we took the journey, went out there, looked around, and we saw this particular dog. Now, at this time, it's been a week since he's been out, and it's undetermined if he got kidnapped and was brought out there and then for whatever reason got out, whether they stopped for gas and he jumped out of the car, or they couldn't handle the dog that they thought they wanted to and they dropped him off somewhere. So weight loss could happen. Being out in the wild after being inside of a house for your entire life, you kind of get skittish. So this dog, it looked like our dog, but at the same time it didn't. We worked with a couple of organizations that helped us out, but unfortunately go to find out that it was not our dog. Well, as we were heading home, there was a thrift store. This thrift store didn't have anything different. It's your typical thrift store that's got a bunch of old stuff, a bunch of typical clothing and movies and household wear. But in the middle of the store, they had this large section, display cases, nothing but knives. And besides skulls, I'm an avid collector of knives. So I fell in love with this place. Just about everything there. If I had the money, I would have bought them out. They had homemade knives. They had knives I've never seen before. They've had creations I've never seen before. And they're all well priced. Especially a thrift store, you're looking at stuff like that, you're thinking about, you're almost paying market value, 30, 40, 50 bucks. But this stuff was very reasonably priced. Like pocket knife like this is about 10 to 15 bucks. This custom made knife that I've never seen before was like 45 bucks, and the blade itself was about 2 feet long, and it had a squared off style handle. Almost looked like it was made out of like rebar. Well, not rebar, but the material that you have on your metal porch handles, porch railing, that kind of stuff. And I was really twisted. What knife do I want? Do I really want to buy a knife? Yes, I really want to buy a knife. But do I have the spare money to get and just spend on a knife? I was unfortunately prepared to walk away empty-handed. And my fiance was very generous and bought me an early birthday present. And this is the piece. I don't know if you can see it or not. It is textured. Let's get close up on that. So you can see that there. Try to get out of that glare. There we go. I mean, obviously she knows I have a passion for skulls, passion for knives. At least I would hope she knows, lives with me. And what a better combination than to have a skull design knife. I think that's my second or third skull design knife that I actually have. Out of all my knives, I've probably got close to 100. Well, no, not that many. I probably got 30, 40 knives, anywhere between pocket knives, hunting knives, utility knives, survival knives. I've got daggers and swords. So between all, I mean, as you guys have seen in one of my earlier videos, I've got that skeleton hand blade that straps on your wrist with the 3 blades that come off of it. So, I mean, with all in all, with my knife collection, I probably have roughly 50. But I'm going to leave you guys here as I'm dragging you on. Story time is over, children. So you guys have a skull-tastic night. Have a great weekend and a terrific Memorial weekend. I will see you next week.